We interrupt this program for a severe weather update from the Storm Team 9 Alert Center.
We've been watching this tornado warned storm, and there we go. That tornado warning has been extended across Randolph County. So in Coleman and Cuthbert, that's where we are under the gun here for watching this storm. Now, it has been a confirmed tornado, and so we have been seeing some lightning popping up on this. When you see lightning popping up, that is a sign that the storm is still maintaining its strength. These are thunderstorms that have the ability to rotate. So we're putting a track on this now as it moves off to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. These ETAs, 237 Eastern Peterson Hill, Mount Vernon Church, 238. National Weather Service went ahead and extended that tornado warning across northern Randolph County. And what they've highlighted here, this is our velocity product where we're able to detect, okay, is there any rotation within this storm? And that's exactly what we're seeing here. It may be a little hard for you guys at home to see, but as meteorologists, what we're noticing is that aqua color and that kind of red purple color right on top of each other. That is going to indicate some rotation within the storm. Green are winds moving towards the radar. Red, purples, those are winds moving away from the radar. And so what you get here is a circulation, and that's what we're seeing around Coleman and the northeastern portion of the city. It looks like as this pushes off to the northeast, it may just stay parallel to Highway 27, but should be crossing over Highway 82 right as it goes through Cuthbert here over the next few minutes. And so as we look at this, you'll notice that little hook is beginning to appear again on radar. Some debris lofted in the air, and the radar is detecting that. So this is moving off to the northeast. This confirmed tornado, it looks like it's near Ebenezer Church, moving to the northeast towards Cuthbert, right along Highway 82. There's a good view of it. See that aqua color there? That is indicating the air is rotating. You've got some stronger winds within inside this storm where you've got the blues and the reds there. When they're right on top of each other, that's where you've got this counterclockwise circulation that is going to indicate that confirmed tornado that we've seen. It looks like it's actually closer to lower Chattahoochee Regional.
We have that tight rotation, so that makes us think that there is a tornado possibly back on the ground again. It lifted for a little while is what it looked like while it was cycling. We talked about that. These storms cycle and they'll lift for a little bit, maybe a few minutes, and then it's potentially they're coming back down again. So that's what we're watching with this area. Like Lauren said, this is a supercell, so it's not the typical tropical quick tornado we're used to seeing. It has been on the ground a little bit longer.
Down to the south in Clay County, as we still have some storms on the southern side of this that warrant watching, because we've been seeing with this little line that's been coming in. Initially, it was just that one thunderstorm that's been on the ground for quite some time. That tornado that's been on the ground for quite some time since it moved in southeast of Dothan. But you've got these storms that are coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. When you have tropical systems, you get what we call tropical tornadoes, because they have the ability to be brief spin-ups that you'll see embedded within that main batch of rain or the outer bands with Claudette coming in. This is obviously a messy system, and also this is not embedded within the main batch of rain. What we had here is that supercell thunderstorm, a thunderstorm that has the ability to rotate. And so as it's been moving inland, and it was just kind of developing on its own away from the rest of the rain, it was able to pick up on all of that warm, juicy air that's been sitting over our area that provides energy, fuel for these storms. And that's, I think, why this tornado has been able to sustain itself as long as it has, coming in southeast of Dothan. But for the rest of us, just a lot of rain. But here in Clay County is where we do have that potential for seeing a tornado moving into Cuthbert right now. So it looked for a second like it weakened. But here's the thing, even once this tornado warned storm moves in, where we do have a confirmed tornado, there's going to be more storms on the backside of that coming in shortly. But here we are pulling up that velocity product again, right between Ebenezer Church and lower Chattahoochee Regional to the west of Highway 27, where you're seeing the aqua popping up here. That is moving off to the northeast. That indicates stronger winds within inside this, and we're getting another view here. And honestly, this isn't a great look, because when you see the blue and the red on top of each other, that indicates strong rotation, because the green and the blues, that's wind moving towards the radar site, which is over in southeast Alabama, and reds, purples, those are winds moving away from the radar site. So if you think about that, blue moving towards, Red's moving away. You've got a counterclockwise circulation, and that's the confirmed tornado that we've been watching on the ground since it moved through Houston County in Alabama.
Happens sometimes with these tropical systems. This actually developed just around some of those rain bands where we had some instability in the atmosphere that allowed this to form. We did have that confirmed tornado moving through Clay County. Now it's in Randolph County, just to the south and west of Cuthbert and Randolph County. We're going to see where this is headed next and how quickly it's going to get there. So if you're in Cuthbert, it's going to be in your neck of the woods here soon. You don't have a whole lot of time. You need to be in that safe place now already. Mount Vernon Church is going to be there at 2:37 Eastern Time. Peterson Hill at 2:37 Eastern Time. 2:51 Eastern Time at Piney Grove Church. Now checking that velocity again, we are still seeing that tight rotation. We're seeing those bright colors, that sort of aqua color, like Lauren was saying, that bright green that almost looks kind of white. That's where we're watching for that potential for some rotation. So I'm going to take this to street level for you guys. If you live near Ebenezer Trail, County Highway 99, if you live west of Dead End Road and Highway 82, you're going to be up next for this on Highway 82, Peterson Hill. We've been tracking this for a while. We've been with you for a while because we want to make sure if you're just now tuning in for this coverage that you're getting this warning. We are going to see this warning now extended to the northern portion of Randolph County. Like I said, Benevolence is going to be up next after Cuthbert. It could potentially be moving over Highway 27 just to the north of Cuthbert as well. This has been confirmed. It's sort of cycled for a while. It looks like maybe it lifted, but it's been cycling where it'll get this broad rotation, but then it wraps right back up. It gets tight again. So we are seeing that tighter rotation on that latest scan. It looks like it is starting to wrap up again just south of Peterson Hill, just to the south and west of Cuthbert. Not a whole lot of these portions are very densely populated with the exception of Cuthbert. There is a dense population there in Cuthbert, but that's why we're going to continue to track this out because we are going to let you guys know if you're in this area. We're going to be here with you. We're going to make sure you're staying safe. Go ahead and get in that safe spot though. So Mount Vernon Church, 2:40 Eastern Time, 2:40 Eastern Time for Peterson Hill. Virgil Chapel, 2:47 Eastern Time, 2:53 Eastern for Wade's Pumpkin Town Church, 2:55 Eastern. Benevolence, 2:58. It's 2:34 right now. You've got right at about 20 minutes to be getting in that safe space if you're in Benevolence. Everyone else, you need to be there now. You need to go ahead and get there. Get your family, get everybody, get your dogs, your kids, your cats, pets, everyone. Make sure you're getting in that safe space. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. You need to make sure that you're in that interior-most room on the lowest level. Put as many walls between you and the storm as possible. So Lauren, do you have something?
Yeah, and I have a quick update for you guys. We are actually getting a report of damage from the National Weather Service. This is actually down in Early County, Georgia. Whoever's controlling the radar, if you want to zoom in on that, that's around Blakely, south of Bluffton. So you see where Blakely is? That's part of Early County, Georgia. At Colomoki Mounds, there has been about 2 miles to the west-southwest of that. Damage reported to a barn pump near Sawyer Road.
This is where that confirmed tornado is moving through right about now. So again, you saw this lightning here, a few lightning flashes. What Lauren mentioned earlier is that could mean some strengthening of the supercell here. And again, this is quite the exception here because within these tropical systems, we do advertise for these quick spin-ups. But again, this one is one of those non-zero chances of a more prolonged tornado here. Along the line from southwest to northeast here, we have gotten these reports, and it wouldn't surprise me if from Randolph County we get more reports here. So again, there you go, 156, we had a spotted confirmed tornado that was near Bluffton there in the boot of Clay County. So again, this is business. We're talking about certainly eyes looking at a tornado, and we're telling you right now, if you're in Randolph County, this storm produced, and this storm is producing. So look at this. This new scan is much more defined here. This is a much more defined tornado debris signature here with, yeah, again, you see that's certainly a favorable indication there that there is being trees or whatever it could be, roofing being lofted up into the air, and the radar is picking that up. And Lauren, yes, you have something to add here?
As we were saying, this is all coming from the same storm that has a history of a tornado being on the ground for quite some time, a confirmed tornado. Now, because the actual storm is looking a little weaker now, I think that's why the National Weather Service has not extended that warning. But if you are in Stewart and Webster County within this yellow polygon, you still need to treat this warning seriously. So anytime there's a tornado warning, we're certainly going to be staying on air with you. If we see this tornado warning gets canceled and is not extended into Stewart and Webster County, we will go off air.
If you look off to the north here, what we're seeing towards Columbus, up towards LaGrange, Auburn, it's just rainfall. We're not seeing any severe storms, not a lot of lightning either. So as this moves into Stewart County, I would suspect that this might weaken. And you notice what's happening towards Eufaula. We're seeing an area of some steadier rainfall kind of cornering this cell here. And I think it'll take away from some of its umph per se here as it moves to the north and east. But we're still seeing some lightning around that cell. And certainly what's happening to the south and to the west warrants our attention, especially for places south of Columbus, south of Highway 80, because we have a plethora here of severe thunderstorm warnings that are certainly producing those damaging wind gusts. So not only tornadoes, but damaging wind gusts. Over towards Pensacola earlier today, we had an 81-mile-an-hour wind gust. So this shows you the potential that these thunderstorms have of producing those damaging wind gusts. So this area is eventually going to move towards Dothan and then parallel its way towards maybe places like Eufaula. We do see a good amount of thunderstorm energy available right from Dothan, places to the north and to the south. So these storms will likely sustain themselves as they move towards the north and east. Again, a good amount of lightning here with these severe thunderstorm warnings around Enterprise. That tornado will be weakening, and I suspect it will probably do so as we head into the next, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes as this moves into a more favorable atmosphere towards the north, where again we see less instability, less of that thunderstorm energy, that juice we talk about that gets these storms going. We are cautiously optimistic.
Still keeping a very close eye on this, because earlier we were thinking that maybe it had lifted, and then we saw those signs again that it was possibly back on the ground. So we do have confirmed damage already in portions of Clay County from this, and also in Early County, just south of Clay County. So we're going to stay with this until we have this warning expire and until we think there's no longer a threat to the public. So our viewers down here, we're going to stay with you guys to make sure y'all are staying safe. We're going to continue to watch this for you and give you the latest updates. So getting the latest track on that right now, where we see that potential for a tornado, it's going to be very close to Benevolence, especially Western Benevolence. If you live in Western Benevolence, you need to be in your safe space. If you live near Pumpkin Town Church, you need to be in your safe space. That timing for Pumpkin Town Church is going to be 2:58 Eastern. It's 2:52 right now. So go ahead and start getting in that safe space. You need to be there already, honestly. Mount Airy Church at 3:09 Eastern Time, 3:12 for Mount Zion Church. Now that portion is into Stewart County. We haven't seen the warning extended to Stewart County yet, but this is where the strong storm that has produced a tornado already will be moving next. So for now, that tornado warning still just for Randolph County. That rotation seems to have weakened a bit. We're still going to stay with this though, because it is still warned by the National Weather Service, and we do think there is that potential still to see this cycle as it starts to tighten that rotation back up. Now on our debris signature, I don't think we're seeing anything right now. We are seeing some colors of those yellows and those blues. I think some of that is noise, and some of that could just be debris fallout from where this was potentially on the ground just a little while ago.
Just a heads up again, if you are in Randolph County, we're certainly keeping a close eye on things. You'll notice near Piney Grove Church, right along Highway 27, is where we are seeing some of that heaviest rainfall right now, and that is the storm that was associated with the tornado. But now it doesn't look as impressive as it had when it was farther south, when it moved through Early County, Clay County, and southern Randolph County. So this same storm is going to be crossing over into Stewart and Webster County right along Highway 27. So we're going to be watching that as it moves to the north at 25 miles per hour.
We interrupt this program for a severe weather update from the Storm Team 9 Alert Center.
Hi everyone, we're sorry to cut into your programming again, but we do have a new tornado warning for the Chattahoochee Valley. This is in Barbour County, and you see this red polygon here in the southern portion of Barbour County near Clio, south of Clayton. This warning is in effect until 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, and this is from a cell that has been moving in, one of these cells that's embedded within this batch of rain, almost kind of standing alone by itself, pushing off to the northeast. So Radek has put a track on this, and here is the ETA. If you are in Barbour County, you want to go ahead and get to your safe spot right along Highway 431, which moves through eastern Barbour County. That is just where rain is falling right now, where you've got Baker Hill, Eufaula. But if we look here, our tornado detection here on the radar doesn't look super impressive at this time. So the velocity product is what we use to see where you've got the green and the red right on top of each other. So as it looks right now, the rotation isn't particularly impressive, but we're certainly going to be keeping an eye on this. With these tropical systems, typically what you see when these storms develop is that as they move in, they can be be very short-lived. So you can have that rotation briefly, and then if a tornado were on the ground, it immediately goes upward. So we're certainly going to be keeping an eye on this. Radek, do you have any updates for us from the National Weather Service?
But again, so Barbour County up to, you see Clayton there, is right outside that tornado warning. This is in effect until 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So again, we'll see if they maintain this tornado warning that long. Again, this one is not one of the most impressive ones we've seen. The one was around Cuthbert earlier was more impressive than this, because again, velocity product right now won't help us out too much. As I said, if we have some rotation aloft, this might not be exactly catching it, but we will watch this area with those reds and greens next to each other. I'll circle the potential area here of some rotation. It's certainly not the strongest we've ever seen, fairly on the weaker side, but it is enough for National Weather Service to pull the trigger for this tornado warning again here in Barbour County. This will eventually head off towards the central part of Barbour County. So Clayton, oh, there's a new scan, and we do have a slightly tighter area here of some circulation that will eventually move towards the north and east into central Barbour County, and we'll see if this, again, we're very close to the radar site here, so it's a little difficult to pick up a distinct kind of signature. However, again, the National Weather Service is seeing this, and no new updates as of right now, but I'm sure they'll keep us updated if this, again, starts to recycle. We've seen these cells today recycle, so when things start to weaken, we're going to be cautiously optimistic, but still warn you ahead of time up towards Clayton. You're not in a tornado warning right now, but that could be extended if this starts to show signs of strengthening. Again, this is one of those spin-up tornadoes. We hope this won't last too long here, but again, we have that tornado warning for the next, let's say, 30 to 25 minutes, rather.
This has been issued by the National Weather Service in Barbour County. It looks like this broad rotation that we are seeing is just southeast of Clio, around Blue Springs, and just south of Louisville. This is just to the north of the radar, so it's kind of hard to get a good image on this, and oftentimes what you're going to see in tropical systems, you know, if you caught us earlier when we were looking at the storm that was moving through Randolph County, it looked more defined, a supercell thunderstorm. This one just doesn't look quite as impressive because it is kind of more embedded within some more rain, so it's not able to stand alone by itself and have that impressive structure. Nevertheless, if you live within this red polygon in Barbour County and you need to go ahead and get into that safe spot, bottom floor, away from windows, if you have any friends or family who happen to live in Barbour County, go ahead and give them the heads up that as this storm moves through and pushes off to the northeast, it does have that potential for a tornado warning with it, hence the tornado warning in place. Radek is going to put that latest track on it for us, and so as this moves off to the northeast, here is that ETA. Tyler Crossroads 2:40 Central Time, Lindsay 2:49 Central. It does look like this is going to stay to the west of Highway 431 in Barbour County, but as it moves off to the northeast, eventually this same storm, whether it ends up having a tornado on it or not, is going to be crossing over Highway 82 as it gets a little closer to that 431 corridor. But for now, it's a little closer to the east of Clio and closer to Baker Hill right now as it pushes off to the north and east. So this is the only tornado warning we have in effect right now for Barbour County. The earlier one that was in Randolph County has expired. So this is just an example, if we look at the bigger picture here, of these storms embedded within all of this rain that is coming in from Claudette. And that's why we have that tornado watch in place until 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, because oftentimes within these batches of rain, you can see these little brief, weak spin-ups. And that may be the case with what we're seeing here. The tornado earlier that was moving through Clay and Randolph County, that was an unusual situation, a supercell thunderstorm that kind of was staying on its own and kind of was on the ground for a long time. But instead, what we're seeing here is likely one of these brief, weak spin-up tornadoes, which is the scenario that you oftentimes see with tropical systems. So hopefully we don't have to stay on air here much longer. But as we zoom in here, again, just pretty messy across southeast Alabama, continuing to see rain off and on. It still doesn't look super impressive, this storm that we're seeing, but this could have been a situation where the National Weather Service saw that brief, tight rotation, and then it began to broaden out a little bit. So that's why tropical tornadoes are a little difficult to warn for. But that broad rotation that we're seeing now is just east of Clio, continuing to push off to the north and east, and this should stay to the west of Highway 431. But this is the only active warning in place now. As soon as this tornado warning is expired, we will get off air.
Underestimate this, and we're going to treat this as if there is a tornado on the ground, but that has not been confirmed. This one is just radar indicated, thankfully. But again, you want to treat this as if there was a tornado on the ground and take shelter. Lowest level of your home, a basement, an interior room, a bathroom, on the lowest level of your home here. Again, that's what we want you to do right now if you're in southern Barbour County. If you know anybody in Clayton, let them know there is a tornado warned storm not too far away. We can't rule out that it moves that way, and we're going to have to, prepare you as if it is moving that way at the same strength, if not stronger. We're going to hope it weakens, and that's usually what happens with these spin-up tornadoes. They're quick, and that's how we advertise them. As Lauren said, the one in Cuthbert was quite the anomaly of having a longer track situation. I have reason to believe that this might weaken as it heads to the north and east, because we have seen with the other cell that was in Cuthbert, it just ripped apart when it came into Stewart County because there's a very well-defined line of instability, thunderstorm energy that is located south of Columbus, south of Highway 80, that these storms are tapping into, and we're able to get these spin-ups, and we have enough juice in the atmosphere to get a severe thunderstorm going here.
We do have a new scan in here. This is still some fairly broad rotation, but when we see that green and red right on top of each other, that tells us that a storm is rotating, hence the tornado warning that has been issued. And so this is pushing off to the northeast toward Clayton. Now that polygon hasn't officially been extended up towards Clayton yet, that formal tornado warning, but this is continuing to move off to the northeast as it moves through Barbour County. And I've got my other radar pulled up over here that I've been watching too, and it looks like this is moving off to the north actually at about 35 miles per hour. And again, this is in effect until 3 p.m. Central Time. So we're looking here at the tornado debris detector. Oftentimes when you see greens or blues popping up, as we saw earlier with that tornado that came through southwest Georgia, that gives you an idea that, okay, maybe there's been some debris lofted. So this is all to the west of Highway 431. Radek, why don't we zoom in here and get as close to street level as we can to get an idea of where exactly this is moving through. So just zooming in a little bit more and getting closer to that. Okay, here we go. So getting a better idea of the roads that we're working with here. So we've got St. Peter's Church to the east of this circulation. It looks like it's crossing over County Road 20 right now as this moves to the north at about 35 miles per hour. This is fairly broad rotation, but this is a storm that is rotating. Nevertheless, that is moving through Louisville, and this is pushing off to the north at about 35 miles per hour. It looks like Hobdy is up next, and then Lindsay just to the east side of this as this passes north across County Road 20. So this is all south of Clayton. We're going to see if that tornado warning actually gets extended. So it's beginning to look a little bit more impressive with this new scan. We are seeing just south of Hobdy, and this is eventually going to be getting a little closer to Clayton. Radek, maybe we want to put that ETA on this now that we have kind of more defined circulation. We'll get that track on it as it moves off to the north at about 35 miles per hour. All of this should be staying to the west of Eufaula. This is a fairly rural area, but we cut in even for our friends in rural areas too, because we want to make sure everyone's staying safe. So 2:56 Central Time, St. Peter's Church, 2:59 Central Time, Clayton Municipal, and 3 p.m. Central at Clayton. And that's why that warning is actually cutting off right as it gets towards Clayton. It's in effect until 3 p.m. Central Time. So we'll see if this tornado warning gets extended up towards Clayton. If you do live in Clayton or the western edge of Barbour County, the western half of Barbour County, I want you to go ahead and get to your safe spot just in case this warning does get extended, because it does look like we have some broad rotation here on radar that could indicate a tornado. It looks like it's looking a little bit more impressive than it did to our south. Big picture here. I mean, it's just a mess across the Chattahoochee Valley. Some of you have just been getting some light rain. Our hope is that as this moves northward, as Radek was mentioning earlier, the environment doesn't look as conducive to see these little brief, weak spin-up tornadoes. But if we also look across southwest Georgia, we're still seeing some of those storms moving in from the south, pushing northward towards areas like Dawson, Americus, kind of up towards Stewart and Webster County, where we saw that same remnant of that tornado warned storm move through. So what we're really going to be focusing on here too, even if you've only seen light rain at this point, to the south of us in areas like the Wiregrass, Enterprise, Dothan, getting down into the Florida Panhandle, a really messy picture down there. So we've got some stronger storms that are going to be lifting northward over the next few hours. What we're going to have to watch is that as any of these storms move northward, if they have that ability to produce a brief weak spin-up tornado, which is typically what you're going to see in a situation like this, Radek, where you have those little brief weak spin-ups that may not even be on the ground log, but we still want to make sure you're paying attention.
Yeah, no, certainly, and as you mentioned, my hope is that once this cell gets, let's say, north of the Russell County line, it will start to weaken. We've noticed that. I'll draw a line here kind of just around, let's say, Lumpkin, Americus, that's on that kind of axis there. Hopefully when the storms move to that area, they seem to have weakened. The one that was near Cuthbert just ripped apart instantaneously almost as it moved up into Stewart County, where that instability was lowered because we have had a good amount of rain and cloud cover across the valley. But further south, where they had a little less rainfall, they had just enough instability and a good amount of shear there due to being on the right front quadrant of this tropical system, Claudette, which I believe is still a tropical storm. But again, nonetheless, it doesn't matter what it's named, what's going on. We're still dealing with the same impacts here, and as advertised, these spin-up tornadoes can happen, and we're just in that perfect alignment on the right axis of this tropical system to get these. And let's continue to focus on folks living in Clayton. If you know anybody up there, let them know there's a tornado warning nearby. This cell is still maintaining its strength. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a warning that's extended into Clayton, at least here. So you have it weaken and then it strengthens again, but we want to keep the same message for you right across the board, right up towards Clayton. We're going to see if the National Weather Service does extend this into Clayton, but I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm going to tell you right now in Clayton, get ready to go into your safe space or go there even right now, because this is showing signs of some strengthening. Oh, there it is. In fact, just as we thought, there's that new tornado warning that's extended all the way. This is actually a pretty big polygon here, all the way into Russell County, pretty close to Russell County. Not quite into Russell County just yet, to the border of Russell County, but all the way through northern Barbour County. That is certainly what we'll be tracking along Highway 82 eventually. This is going to be to your west, Eufaula, so you're in the clear. Highway 431 is in the clear.
This is kind of giving us a little bit of a different view of this storm that we are watching moving across Barbour County. So you can almost see the rotation a little bit better on radar scope here. Notice where you've got the pinks and it looks like the greenish gray color. That is that indicated rotation that has been associated with this tornado warning cell that is moving into Clayton right now, off to the north, generally going northward, headed towards Russell County. If you are anywhere near Clayton, Midway, I want you guys to go ahead and get into that safe spot, lowest floor of your home, interior room, away from windows. And that is the one product we're looking at here, is showing us the winds within inside of the storm. But I want to also show you just the actual reflectivity data. This is showing us the rain that is associated with this same tornado warning cell, and you can barely see it. It just doesn't look very clear, right? It's a very messy situation. So this is a situation where you have a tropical tornado that is embedded within some storms that we are seeing moving on shore. And generally too, I think we can go ahead and pull back up Max 1 or Max 2 on our screen here. Yes, and now Radek can take over control. Again, this is just showing us a different view of how to look at how the winds are operating with inside this storm. And so it looks like near Pratt actually is exactly where that tornado warning storm is moving through right now. And it is getting a little closer towards Clayton, moving towards Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. You know, this is a fairly rural area, but if you live in this area, we want you to be in your safe spot. Right around St. Peter's Church is where we're seeing that rotation associated with this tornado warning storm. And if you have any friends or family who live in Barbour County, maybe on the western side west of Highway 431, go ahead and give them a call. Radek, let's zoom in here and get to street level where we're seeing this. Oh, and there's that tornado debris detector. Not seen much yet, but we'll keep an eye on that. So, and if we can actually move this maybe to the center of the screen, I notice we've got the crawl running over there. So there we go, perfect. Okay, so Pratt Station Road is what this is moving over right now. Dan Sneed Road, Robertson Mill Road, it looks like that's where this rotation is lifting north of right now. And this looks to be the west of Hovey Road. So if you're anywhere near these areas, you've got to stay in your safe spot right now. We're going to stay with you until we can sound the all clear. As of right now, this again is just embedded within a messy batch of thunderstorms that's been moving in from the Gulf of Mexico and making its way northward. Should be eventually, if this holds together, crossing over Highway 82, may just clip that southeastern edge of Bullitt County before it moves off into Russell County, getting a little closer to Hurtsboro here. So I'm going to look at the information on this warning really quick for you guys. So yes, this has, it says it's been extended into Barbour and Bullitt County. So it hasn't officially been extended into Russell County just yet. Notice it is just cutting off to the south of Russell County. Here's Russell County. Here's Bullitt County, Barbour County. So if you live in Russell County, if you live in the southwestern edge of that to the west, again, of Highway 431, you got to make sure that you're paying close attention to this, because if this does hold together and that warning gets extended, then we want to make sure you're already in your safe spot. Embedded within this messy batch, I know it's hard to see, it may be hard to see where that actual tornado could be, but this is what is moving towards Clayton, pushing off to the north and east. And for the rest of us, if we zoom out and get the bigger picture here, that is the only active warning that we have in place at this time. So a lot of you may be just seeing some light rain right now, and that's the only place where we have an active tornado warning. But if we actually go down into southeast Alabama, notice there's a severe thunderstorm warning down there, and that is right between Dothan and Enterprise, and so that's right along Highway 84. I see that severe thunderstorm warning in place, but I think that will probably expire here shortly. But either way, we have some thunderstorms to the south of us. All of this messy weather is going to lift northward, and so that's why we have to look at this with almost an eagle eye to see if we can figure out exactly if we could see any of these cells that do have that potential to rotate and put down maybe a brief weak tornado. But we have been getting damage reports of that tornado that came through southwest Georgia earlier, a little closer to Colamoki Mounds and areas I think maybe in Clay County. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Damage reports here being pulled up from Radek. And this looks like we've been again seeing damage reports in Early County up towards Clay County. So we'll see if when that came through Randolph County, if there's going to end up being anything. But right now over in Barbour County, we're not seeing any issues at this time. So Radek has outlined where you've got winds, where you see the green, that's wind moving towards the radar, which is south of here at Fort Rucker down in South Alabama. And then you've got red, that's wind moving away from the radar. So if you think about that, you've got air circulating counterclockwise, which is why we have that rotation, however broad it may be, hence why we have a tornado warning. Now, Radek, have we seen anything about a confirmed tornado with this cell by any chance? So we're going to get you back to your regular programming, and we'll cut in as necessary. Thank you.
This has been a severe weather update from the Storm Team 9 Alert Center. We now join our regularly scheduled program already in progress.